welcome to Media Watch. I'm Duffman in the newsroom, and guess what?
That's right, I'm back in Victoria. We also have a story on graveyards and how the plans to fix them up are going in the UK.
As well, we have a story about singing doctors.
And finally today, we have Rex Murphy's take on Rex Hillier's tenure as Minister of Defence. Those are the stories. This is the program. You're with Media Watch.
"20,000 cemeteries in the UK, huge areas of land, but often neglected, damaged and dangerous. The government's Commission on Open Spaces wants councils to change all that.
We want cemeteries to become a much bigger part of the urban landscape. Back in Victorian times, they were designed and laid out with a real sense of ambition and scale. We need to have that same kind of passion for cemeteries now as we did then.
In some urban areas, cemeteries account for most of the public space, and the Commission wants councils to treat them like parks. Take this cemetery in Bristol. There's 50 acres of open space here. It's not far from the city centre, and yet we've been here for a couple of hours this morning and I haven't seen a single person making use of it. But here at least things are changing. This is the first cemetery in Britain to get lottery funding for a major restoration project starting in the new year. There will be a visitors centre, and that's not all.
Well, they're going to be taking down the crematorium tower and building the cafe onto the side of the building at the back there.
A cafe?
That's right.
It might sound ghoulish to some, but the owners say cemeteries were always meant to be accessible.
I'd like people just to really be able to come here and enjoy the facilities here. For the education centre, groups of school children coming here to learn about the history of people buried here.
But opening up cemeteries is expensive, especially for councils who need to educate and transport the living, as well as looking after the dead. John Kay, BBC News, Bristol.
Doctors will be on display in Fredericton tonight, but these physicians won't be showing off their surgical skills. They'll be stepping out of their comfort zones to do a little song and dance as part of a fundraiser called Ultrasounds. CTV's Aaron O'Halloran has more.
Preparations for the big night are underway. Dr. Jennifer Russell says she's been practicing her piano skills to keep up with this 13-year-old fiddle prodigy. Kathleen Gorey McSorley will be a guest performer in a show of doctors, taking to the stage for a good cause.
So this is a whole different venue for them. So it was difficult. I had to twist some arms and pull teeth and get people convinced that this was a good idea and that they wouldn't make a fool of themselves, that it was for a really great cause.
Hi, my name is Carmen Miranda.
Dr. Brian McKinnon is the master of ceremonies for the event. He says his lack of musical abilities couldn't stop him from participating in the show. And seats are filling up quickly. McKinnon says more than 600 people rushed to the box office to see doctors in something other than a white coat.
So good for them for doing it. But what I've found selling tickets is this is what the crowd wants. They want to see their doctors outside the office, and they're very interested in seeing what kind of talents they have.
And talent won't just be on stage. A silent art auction is planned to raise even more.
Artists and other private people and businesses have donated their art very kindly, and in most cases 100% of the proceeds will go to the new therapeutic park at the Stan Cassidy Centre.
This is just a drop in the bucket because the park itself will probably cost over $700,000.
The Stan Cassidy Rehabilitation Center has special meaning for Jennifer Russell. Her late brother spent 6 months there after becoming a quadriplegic when he was 17.
He was very successful in terms of, gaining that independence, and he was very, very strong-willed and very determined, and definitely the skills that he learned there were what gave him his independence.
He is the reason Russell is raising money for the park. It would be a place for Maritimers to recover from spinal cord and neurological injuries. She says he would have loved it.
All those different types of terrains that you can practice on so that when you get out in the real world, you've got that confidence.
And Russell has confidence ultrasounds will warm hearts and open wallets to this special project that will help people rebuild their lives one step at a time. Erin O'Halloran, CTV News, Fredericton.
Why is General Rick Hillier so popular? For one thing, it's the way he speaks. No, I'm not referring to the rhythm and tone of his Newfoundland accent. Wonderful, of course, as that so eminently is. In one of his first briefings on the Afghanistan mission in July 2 years ago, he explained to reporters that the Taliban and Al-Qaeda were murderers and scumbags, and he went on to the equally emphatic statement about the nature of the Canadian Armed Forces. We're not the Public Service of Canada, he said. We're not just another department. We are the Canadian Armed Forces, and our job is to be able to kill people. What's remarkable about both those statements is how blazingly clear they are. They're intense, unqualified definition. They are a million miles away from the gray, muddy fuzziness, the pure slipperiness and evasion that characterizes almost 100% of the language of politics. The saying of one thing and meaning another style, or the desperate language of the perpetual partisans who say anything if it will boost their cause or hurt their opponents. People may not like what he says. Hillier's been controversial since he stepped into the public spotlight, but they like it that they know he says what he thinks. He doesn't water things down. He warned in that same July briefing that Afghanistan would be tough, there would be casualties. Very recently, to the horror of some in the government, he warned of how long it would take for there to be real security in that country. He doesn't duck and he doesn't trim. It's no secret that his political masters, and probably even the Prime Minister himself, might prefer a more tractable, less compelling presence. But there are no signs General Hillier is so married to the prestige of being Chief of Defense Staff, the glory of the position, that he will water himself or his statements down to guarantee staying there. Finally, the most basic reason that he's so popular is that he keeps the covenant, and that is the word here, as the anniversary of November 11th should remind us, between a military leader and his troops. He said it best himself just this week. I am no politician, and I don't think I'm very wise. Of his troops, he went on, I am their champion, and in a way, I serve them as much as I serve the government of Canada and you Canadians and Canada itself. Now, there's some chatter, mainly political, about General Hillier becoming too much the face of the mission. It's a hard thing to berate the general in charge of a mission for being its face, and a harder thing altogether to claim he's stepping outside his role when he articulates why our forces are in that mission in the first place. A more regular or successful articulation of the mission from both the governments who launched it and endorsed it, Liberal and Conservative, might have taken away some of the need for the general to expound it so frequently. But he surely should not be blamed, and certainly should not be punished, for filling a vacuum his masters have allowed to emerge. He should not wear their failings. Should Prime Minister Harper see General Hillier as a problem? Not at all. Rick Hillier's popularity is an index of competence and forthrightness. The day that competence and forthrightness are a problem will bring a dawn no one really wants to see. For The National, I'm Rex Murphy.
Well, that's all for today, folks. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of Media Watch, and from all of us at INET, thanks for watching.
Peace out.